to another episode of Two Joes and the Pro. There's no need for introduction. You know who it is. Kenny, Ryan, and Brian. You know, we're back for another episode. We're teed up. I'm amped right now. I'm happy to see my guys. I feel like I haven't seen them in a while. My guys, what's going on?
Same old.
Chilling.
Hey, it's a new year. Same guys, right? Like, I'm good today, bro. I'm fine. No energy, right? Because why you need energy for, right? Anyway, we have a lot to catch up on, so let's get straight to it. I'm going to touch on NBA first, right? I'm going to touch on NBA first because I want to talk about the Lakers for just 2 minutes.
Why do you want to talk about that suckbag team?
Because of that exact reason. We suck bad. LeBron issued an apology saying, hey, Laker Nation, we have to do better. And we won one game from that. And then we lost the next one, so I don't know if we did better. But the Phoenix Suns are number one in the Western Conference at 34-9, and then you have Golden State Warriors are number 2 at 32-12. Klay Thompson he's been back, but he's actually been playing pretty well. Steph Curry had a little injury. I know Draymond's been out as well, so they kind of fall back a little bit. And surprisingly, I don't know if you guys know. Have y'all watched Gary Payton the second play?
No.
Nope.
Like, bro, he's cooking. Like, he's not cooking like that, but he's like super explosive. Not like his pops. Like, he's way more explosive, like dunking, and he's a good player though. Crazy story before I go. I remember meeting him when he was young. I went to the Michael Jordan camp when I was in 8th grade. He was there, but he was like a little kid. Right? And it's crazy. Like, they're like, oh, that's Gary Payton's son. He was like a little kid dribbling around. So it's funny now, seeing him now. He's in the NBA and he's balling like that. It's crazy. Anyway, that's my little flashback. Anyway, getting into the... Why am I just hopping all over the place?
You're all over the place.
All over the place, right?
On.
Let me relax. Relax. I got to be relaxed like Ja Morant. Because I don't know if y'all have been watching, but Ja Morant has been going stupid. Like stupid. Like, before it was, Steph Curry is kind of overshadowing him. No. Ja Morant is the best player in the league right now, like, in my opinion. Ooh. And I know that's saying a lot, right? Yeah. But the way he's playing, the Memphis Grizzlies are the third in the Western Conference. Like, they're 31-16. He's been averaging over 30. He's shooting the 3-ball. He just has crazy highlights plays. Like, he's jumping all over the place, and it's not like he's 6'5", 6'6", like, it's only like 6'3", 6'2", like, and he's jumping. Getting to the Eastern Coast, why do I keep saying coach? Eastern Conference. Chicago Bulls, 28-15. They're no number one. That's it. I'm done with basketball because I cannot talk right now.
Yeah, but NBA, I just want to quickly say, the East Coast isn't like 1-8 or 1-10, like, they're within like 4 or 5 games of each other. Like, it's
6.5.
They're 6.5.
1-10 is 6.5.
Yeah, they're in between 6.5. Toronto is 10th with 21-21, and then Chicago is 28-15 in the first.
Yeah, it's crazy how close everybody is.
But the Cavs are at 6 at 2.5 games back.
I will say the Cavs have like sneaky team, performing pretty well. They're playing good as a team, right? And it's kind of under the radar. Like, they're beating good teams, and everybody's like, oh, just one game. It's the Cavs. But, like, no, they're sixth place, in the Eastern Conference. So it's like they're doing a lot better than people expect, of course, right? And then college basketball.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
I have a question real quick. Which conference would you say is stronger right now?
Not even close.
I mean, I know that Western has 3 teams over 30, but the Eastern has 6 teams over 27. So there's a little bit of a drop, like, once it goes down to the 6. I'm just wondering.
It's West Coast.
Yeah, I'm going to say West Coast because the only team on the West Coast that I have to worry about, in my opinion, is the Dallas Mavericks. Only because I feel like they are one-sided with Luka. But all the other teams, top 6. Let me take top 6 because I don't know anything. I can't say nothing about the Lakers or the Timberwolves, right? Because anything can happen with them. But I'm saying top 6 teams, if you look at it, I can see any of those teams beating anybody in the conference, Eastern Conference. Yeah, I don't see anybody. Like Brooklyn Nets, with Kyrie playing, yeah, but he's not playing 100%. He's playing 50-50, right? So that means if he's at home, I got a chance to win because it's one less man I got to worry about, right? But the Utah Jazz been performing good. The Denver Nuggets been performing decent. And then Golden State and Phoenix are, in my opinion, are going to be the two teams. One of them are going to win the championship, in my opinion. So,
do you think the Nets are going to sacrifice a potential chance at a championship by making Kyrie sit out home games in the playoffs?
If they can help it, no. But I thought that is a state regulation type of thing. I thought the New York City.
Yeah,
I thought New York City.
They're not sitting him. New York City, he can.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. Yeah.
I didn't know if it was like a team decision or not.
Nah, they would like everybody said we want him to play, and when Kyrie's playing, he's still Kyrie. He's still cooking. So you know what I mean. So yeah, that's for.
They're gonna let him. They let him play. They waive it if they get to the playoffs.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Passes along.
I wouldn't be surprised, like because the NBA they got a lot of weight to throw around.
Yeah, put a call in.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, let the games be played.
Right,
unvaccinated. So yeah, so much for me butchering the NBA, right? So let me get to college so I can have a smoother transition. So in college basketball, it's been all over the place, to be honest with you. Gonzaga's number 1 right now. Baylor had lost 2 back-to-back. Auburn's number 2. Now people are talking about Auburn becoming number 1. A lot of teams have been losing. Arizona has kind of been creeping up. I remember 2 weeks ago we were on, they were like number 10, and then went to number 6, and now right now they're number 3. Duke, same thing. They lost. UCLA dropped back a little bit. Kansas just lost as well. So it's getting to the conference play, and a lot of coaches are playing against their other coaches, their other foes that they've been seeing previous years, and they know their gameplay style. So now you're starting to see a lot of upsets from like a Oklahoma beating Iowa State or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's all we got for college really. But I'm excited for March Madness coming up here in like a little month and a half. So yeah.
Sweet. I got nothing for that.
All right. You want to move on?
Oh yeah, hold on. One thing. Actually, no. Go ahead. Go finish. I'll circle back when we were done. I was gonna ask something about.
Wait, you want me to do baseball?
No. Because there's actually movement in baseball.
Oh damn.
Yeah. I mean, they're still locked out. Don't get me wrong, but they actually held a meeting. I think about a week ago. But the MLBPA and the MLB held a meeting, and apparently the MLBPA Players Association walked away from that very unhappy. So they're no closer to a deal. But hey, they at least met face to face. So that's the MLB news. I will say the MLB, I don't think they can afford to let this impact the season because they need the ticket revenue. They already have a declining fan base, and they need the ticket revenue. Like otherwise, it's going to be a big hit on the MLB. So I think the Players Association has the leverage. So
especially after the last 2 years, right? Like with COVID year and then last year with it's like half the team not playing, so people are not going to the game. So they definitely need this year.
Yes, yeah. This is a crucial year for revenue. Hockey. Real quick, I was gonna come in and talk up the Bruins because they were on a streak, and then they got absolutely embarrassed at home against Carolina, 7-1. Tuukka Rask came back to the team on a veteran minimum deal after having hip surgery on the offseason, so he is not the same goalie he was, and that clearly showed. He gave up 5 goals in that game, which was atrocious, and that was in the first quarter, or the first period, I should say. But
that's crazy, man. A Boston team getting embarrassed in a game?
That's been happening a lot lately.
Stay tuned.
Listen, but really, the Tampa Bay Lightning finally took over first place. They, talent-wise, are by far the best team in the East. Florida, for some reason, is still up there at second. I'm surprised by that. I don't think that they're really as talented as their record shows, but hey, props to them. They've been playing good hockey. And that's pretty much all. I mean, the Pittsburgh Penguins they've been up and down all year. They were on a run recently, and they lost a couple games, but they're still hanging in there, 7th seed. But I think they're a team that could make some noise in the playoffs if they do make it. And we do have I think the trade deadline is going to be coming up soon. Well, I say soon, but it's a couple weeks out. And then in the West, really, I mean, the only team that's really been on a streak is Colorado. They're in first place. Edmonton has fallen off the map. They lost 6 straight. My boy not playing as well. Yeah, man. I don't know. He doesn't look like Wayne Gretzky anymore. So maybe I talked him up too much. But yeah, that's about it. I mean, we'll see what happens. Like I said, trade deadline's coming up. That might be some newsworthy stuff. So I'll keep tuned. That's it.
Sweet.
I have nothing to say to hockey, so I try to watch a little bit. I seen someone I was at the sports book, and it was good hearing it live and hear crashing to the damn wall and shit. But other than that, it was not too fun to watch unless you were drunk. So no shade though.
All right. So the NFL, I just want to go ahead and get it out of the way away.
Let's do it.
I just want Brian.
Hot
I'm gonna
take.
give you a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to defend your team.
Don't give him a chance.
The strength of your team, the best part of your team, just decided we're not going to go to that game.
Yep. Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, you're talking about the defense, right?
Yeah.
That's the strength of their team. That's what you told us before.
Yeah,
multiple times.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to sit here and give you excuses about the Patriots. They sucked. They absolutely sucked. Worst game I've seen them play all year. Really can't even say that they played because I mean,
all year
it was 7-on-7. That's probably Belichick's worst game of his lifetime.
I mean, it's up there. Listen,
so bad.
Something happened with this team on the bye week. Usually, a Bill Belichick coach team gets better after a bye week, and they lost their heads. I don't know what happened. The bye week happened, and they came out, lost to the Colts. Colts suck. They should have won that game, but they were making stupid plays, you know. Then they lost to the Bills, which rightfully probably the Bills are. Well, the Bills are definitely a more talented team, but they probably deserve to be the better team, especially after they just kicked our ass. And I mean, listen, and then they can't even take care of Miami, the last game of the season, to give them a chance to get the division. I mean, they didn't deserve. There's something happened. They didn't deserve to win. So I mean, hats off to the Bills. And listen, Josh Allen played well, but he was playing against his own defense. They were scared to play man up. They were scared to man up because they had no corners. So, you know.
We don't want to hear that.
I will say this though. I thought going into this game when I saw the weather report, I was like, oh man, this is a Patriots gameplay.
I did too.
It was cold. It was going to be a hard running game, and I thought it was just going to be a more physical game. But it kind of was, because if you think about it, that first drive, most of the big plays were run plays. It was like Josh Allen ripped off like a 26-yard run. Like Singletary was running the ball pretty well. And I think they only threw the ball, I think, like one time on that, which was the Dawson Knox like touchdown pass, and maybe they had like another throw. But they came out to like run the ball. And once I saw they did that, and then the second drive was the interception, and then they scored again. And it was 14-0. I was like,
it's dark.
Now we get to see what happens, because then they took away the run game, which was your guys' strength. You guys had to start coming back, and
that was a hell of an interception, though.
Yeah,
that was a hell of an interception.
Because that ball wasn't perfect, but it was a pretty good ball.
No, but the ball placement was where it's supposed to be. Like, it's either my guy's going to catch it or it's going to go out of bounds. Yeah. And then out of nowhere, like, he just cleared the screen. Hyde just came out of anywhere, just like,
I mean,
and grabbed it.
Aguilar could have tried to high point the ball, but
that's your first mistake. You're throwing the ball to Aguilar.
Well, yeah, he's on the hook for $15 million next year. So yeah.
Great pickup, Bill.
Wow. No, he's gonna get cut. It's only $5 million if you cut him. So,
okay.
I mean,
yeah, he'll get cut.
Probably.
There's no way.
But
yeah. What'd you think of Mac Jones? Like,
I think
granted he can't do much.
I think he's the only person that actually played well that game.
I would agree.
Yeah, the second interception was definitely his fault. He tried to force it in there, but I think it was 17-0 at the.
They're already down.
21-0
Yeah,
at that
they're
point.
already down.
He literally tried to make a play, right? Like he literally tried to make a play, and it was hard. And it's a multiple throws that he threw that the guy they just dropped the ball, and you could see the frustration on Mac Jones' face. Like, come on, man! Like, we're trying to get something, and we can't even get in the right direction. You're dropping it.
Brandon Bolden made a terrible drop.
Come on,
and hit him right in
wide
He
open.
was wide open. Yeah, I mean stuff like that happens. Has been happening all year, but it really showed up against the Bills. I mean, because the Bills played damn near perfect. So, I mean,
yeah, about as perfect as you could be. Hey, so I felt good watching that game.
I did too. I said I can't wait to hear what Brian has to say.
look, they need to change something in the staff because I think. Listen, honestly, the Patriots. Bill Belichick took over the defense after the loss to the Cowboys because they gave up a 3rd and 24, and he lost his friggin' mind. And then he took over the defense. They won a 7-game win streak. Coming out of the bye, I think he let the defense go back to whoever was calling the plays, whether that's Steve Belichick or Gerard Mayo. And I think they had too many cooks in the kitchen at that point. I think it needed to be one guy, and I think it needed to be Bill because I don't think his son, Steve, is ready to be a coordinator. And I don't think...
He's coked out,
and something just wasn't right there. There was something going on with the staff. I mean, those guys looked like they didn't even want to play. You know what I mean? Like, it just didn't look.
Maybe
right.
maybe they don't like Steve. This is just me. I have no inside knowledge, obviously, but maybe they just don't like Steve and Bill. Like that's his son's, and Gerard's like, I don't want to play for this freaking guy. All right, like. Why should I be answering to a guy that's never played in the league? It's just because he's your son. So maybe there's some tension because they don't have like an actual defensive coordinator. Like who's the so-called defensive coordinator?
They don't name him.
You know what's crazy? I would add to that. First of all, I didn't know Gerard Mayo was like the D coordinator or co-D coordinator.
Yeah.
But his son Steve is brilliant. Like I understand, like it didn't show up
sure
in
he
the game,
is.
but his mind. That's a little Belichick, right? And to Ryan's point, like I think that's a valid point, right? If I'm Gerard Mayo, am I really listening to him? But maybe Gerard Mayo should listen to him, right?
Maybe.
Most coaches' sons follow in their father's footsteps. I don't know many that didn't, that weren't successful either. Even if you look at the NFL right now, half the coaches with their fathers were coached before, they're pretty good coordinators. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, and then one more person that might have had their hand in that is Matt Patricia. He took over the role of being the guy upstairs that does like the challenges and stuff like that. But Bill really likes him, and he is a very smart guy. He graduated MIT, so I mean he is smart. He's like a
Oh, he was back on the team?
Yeah, he was there all year. So like it's possible that he got involved with the defense as well. So that means you've got 3 people, and if you count Bill, 4. I mean, it's just too many cooks in the kitchen. Like, you know, and there's probably some infighting. Some players liked one guy, some players liked another, and it probably just fell apart because of that.
Yeah. All right, we're done with it. Yeah, I'm saying this is Brian's trying to vouch for the Patriots and shit.
It's fine. He's coping. It's our process. Yeah. Hey guys, all right. Tell me. First off, I want to congratulate the Bengals because. Like I can't be happier for a fan base that like went to the playoffs so many years in a row with like there I think there was like 5 years, 6 years where they won like 10 games and they just every year get bounced out. Marvin Lewis couldn't win a playoff game. Joe Burrow I think is the real deal. I mean we thought that to begin with.
Yeah, for sure.
I think the only one that would challenge him for like the next up and coming quarterback is Herbert, but I think he needs to figure out his head coach because he needs someone to help manage the game. Like
you can't have two great slingers.
Yeah. There needs to be like that guy that what's the Rams? The guy that keeps what's his name off the field? The head coach there. What's the head coach? Sean McVay. There's a guy that stands there that like is in charge of like grabbing him and keeping him on the field.
Yeah.
That's what they need to have for Joe Staley, just to like keep him from calling 4th down. Like he can call 1st, 2nd, and 3rd down, but he's not allowed to call 4th down plays. And I think they'd be a lot better for it.
It's like 4 games we lost just because he did that. Like it's okay if you do it once or twice, but he does it like 3 or 4 times a game. oh, that's my philosophy. I'm like, bro, your philosophy ain't working because we're losing. Okay, like.
All right, I need you guys to give me a rundown on the touchdown pass that Joe Burrow had. Was there a whistle before he stepped out of bounds?
It was
okay.
The ball was already out his hand in the air, right? So like people were trying to say, "Oh, it should have been. It's an inherent whistle." Like that's bullshit. The ball was already out his hand in the air.
Yeah.
And then the whistle.
But the rule is, if the play is still going on, which the ball in the air means the play is still going on, it's supposed to be redone. That's just the way the rule is. So I agree with you, Kenny. I think that it should still stand. But that means you got to change the rule. That's all I'm saying.
Buddy was beat.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was cooked. And he tried to stop, like, what happened? No, bro, you already beat. Tyler Boyd killed you. On the little,
Yeah. So that ref, like, officiating team, they're done for the playoffs. They won't be reffing another game.
They're a terrible team, a terrible reffing crew.
Yeah.
Jerome
They missed a lot of calls,
or
too.
Booger. What's his name? Booger or Boger?
Bogard.
Yeah, whatever, man.
Jerome Bogard.
He's had a history of making some awful calls, but...
Yeah.
Tampa Bay obviously routed the
Expected.
Eagles. I thought the Eagles didn't deserve to be there. So.
No. I didn't even know how they got there in the first place.
Because the NFC is weak.
Yeah.
God,
or they're not weak. They're top heavy. That's all.
Nah,
the NFC's got like
heavy.
3-4 teams, and that's it.
They're not top heavy either because we're going to talk about their top team that got dismantled. Like, Cowboys is trash.
I meant the NFC, not the East.
Oh, I thought you were talking about NFC East. My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm still in Ryan's thunder.
Hey, the 49ers have been a hot team going into the postseason. I mean, they lost against the Titans, and, like, that was it. But since week, 13, they lost against the Titans, and everyone else they just beat going into it. So they're a hot team right now. Shanahan's a good coach. I don't know what's going to – he's good. But I thought they should have won by more points. I mean, they controlled most of that game, but Dallas was starting to come back a little bit towards the end. So it ended up only being like a 6-point game, and Dallas – in Dallas fashion, they lost in the best way possible. I don't know, which apparently that was a designed play with 9 seconds left to run up the middle and then go up and clock the ball. That was designed by him.
But it was a good play call, right? But Dak it was. Dak ran for too many yards. Dak was only supposed to run for 2 many yards so they can get a Hail Mary. Instead, Dak ran for like 17, 18. Like bro, you're not getting to the end zone.
And it was smart on the 49ers players to just let him keep going. Like, you could keep running all you want. Like, and it was also Dak's fault because he handed the ball to the center. The center then put it down, and then, like, the refs got to come in and respot it. They should have just handed it to the ref. And then also, what was going on? Because the back judge is the one that came in to spot the ball, but doesn't usually the line judges were just like, is the game over?
It's a back judge.
They hadn't come in.
The back judge spots it.
The back judge, he does it, yeah. He spikes it and then he goes back.
Like all the line judges do is like mark the spot and put their hand up, and then the back judge comes in.
Yeah, there
and
was
looks
none
at
of that either.
Yeah,
because it was chaos.
But it was not. He came running. It's like maybe the back judge was like, "There's no way that they're getting this ball down." He was like,
"No,
I gotta get up there."
The back judge was about to catch a cramp because he was running too fast, and then he bumped into Dak. Dak fell off. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is a cluster."
Yeah, it was a mess. I mean, like, hindsight 2020, maybe they should have just like ran a Hail Mary that play, like trying to just instead of spiking it. But this is the best feeling ever when he comes out. The game's over.
They said everybody's like, "Oh, it's one more play. The game's over." And the refs ran off the field. They I
ain't getting shot. They were throwing bottles at the players. Like, I think it was Lawrence, their defensive end, like was like hitting bottles with his helmet, like to knock it away. Like, the fans were so mad.
Oh my gosh! Man.
But hey, public apology to Deebo Samuel. Mm-hmm. You were 100 times better than Brandon Ayuk.
Pop it, talk your shit.
He's his own player. He's his own position. He is a Swiss Army knife of the offense. They can literally do anything with him. And he stayed healthy this year. So if that proved me wrong. I was worried about his health. Like for some reason, he always got hurt, or not even like big injuries, just like nagging injuries. He'd miss a game here, he'd be good for 2 games, and then he'd miss another game. But he's been a baller all year. I think he had like 1,400 receiving yards, and then tacked on like another.
I think
like 500.
I think it's
yards
800
rushing.
I thought it was 800
Yeah,
rushing. I think he's the first player to
beast.
do 14 and 8, something like that. And plus, they started winning ever since they started playing Kodak Black Super Gremlin when they were walking out the tunnel. Ever since they played that song, they've been winning. And Debo been leading, because I'm a gremlin. And ever since then, he's just been snapping. So the day that they don't play that song, they'll probably get blown out by 40. Especially because Jimmy G behind them. Jimmy G's like in his mode, and they turn it off, it's over. Jimmy G's like literally, I still think they're paying him. Like somebody's trying to pay him like, hey, bro, throw the game. Like, throw the game. Like, he threw that pick. He threw that pick at the end. Like, bro, who are you throwing it to?
Yeah, okay, but I mean, it's not just him, man.
He wins games. I don't know.
His coach also has a history of not being able to close games. So,
Does his coach throw the ball?
no, but his coach calls the plays. So he's
You
part of it.
You call the play, but you don't. Okay,
I know.
We're not. This man get paid $20 million a year. We're not going to sit here and say, "Oh, it's his coach fault." You're the one that throws the ball, bro.
Hey, man, they let up.
Oh man,
They let up.
All right.
Go ahead, Ryan.
And you know what? I lied because earlier I said the Eagles were the team that was least deserving of a playoff spot. But I actually meant the Steelers because I'm telling you, this man. I'm so glad he's retiring. This guy could not throw over 10 yards all year. I don't know how they got 21 points
cooked
this game.
He's like somebody's grandpa moving back there. He's like like.
Yeah.
I wonder
bad.
if they
Chiefs
I wonder if they asked him to come back because they have no answer at quarterback.
Did you hear what
Dwayne
they're talking about?
Haskins,
No, cut it out.
No.
They're talking about trading for Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, I like Deshaun if there's no legal issues.
Right.
Or
If he can, I think most teams in the NFL will trade for Deshaun Watson if he is cleared
Yeah.
of legal issues. And then the Cardinals just went from like best team in the NFC to like the worst team in the NFC. And the Rams took care of business, and Odell Beckham was like, "Hey, I got this." He played really well. So
did you see? I saw a statistic talking about Kingsbury talking about Kingsbury. How you say it? Kingsbury, Pillsbury, whatever Barry. Talking about him ever since he was at Texas Tech to end the season, he's had like 0-5, 0-6, 0-8, like consecutively, like years. Like he always finished the season terrible. And he did the same thing the last 2 years in Arizona. So
Yeah, and he also went 14-19 in college with Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. So if that tells you anything, maybe he's the wrong answer.
Patrick Mahomes wasn't the same guy that you see now, though, because Patrick Mahomes did a lot of crazy passes in college. Remember? He didn't read the defense, remember? Okay. He said, I would just say hike, and then I'll wait for my guys to run down, and I'll throw it up in the air.
sometimes it looks like he's still doing this.
It works for him.
You're right.
He's no Andy Reid. So
Before we transition, I want to get you guys' thoughts. Right? They're talking about the mock draft coming out right now. I'm gonna give you guys a couple of names and let me know what you guys think about it. Number 18 with the New Orleans Saints. They talk about picking up Kenny Pickett from Pittsburgh. Any thoughts on that?
I'm not big on any of the quarterbacks this year. I could be wrong.
I don't like them all. Any of them.
Yeah.
I don't like any of them.
I actually like who they said the Steelers are getting. Matt Corral from Ole Miss. I think he's a gamer. I like him more than Kenny Pickett. Like Kenny Pickett, but Matt Corral, I like him. SEC guy, and he performs. He got heart. I like him. What do you guys?
The only thing.
Go ahead.
I was going to say. I will say on quarterbacks from in college, I think kind of history has bore out that maybe you should avoid these kids coming out of big schools like Alabama, Ohio State. Like maybe they're just surrounded with so much talent that it's hard to actually, evaluate them. Like, and then you should go after kids that come out of like Ole Miss, who just they don't have as much talent. They're not winning all the time. So I don't know. Just something to think
That's
about.
probably the most valuable point you have said since inception of this podcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That's like I have nothing to say against that. Like I really like that point that you just made. That's brilliant.
And here's another thing with a lot of these like rookie quarterbacks. Like if you're drafting one, for example, the Giants could probably use a quarterback because our starting quarterback, Danny Dimes, has like a real bad neck injury. So I don't think he's going to be the real deal. But here's the thing: I think that neck injury is going to be too much for him to come back from, and his arm's not going to be the same. It doesn't matter either way. We're going to have a rookie head coach, or we're going to have someone come in like a new head coach. It's all about the environment. So like for New Orleans with Sean Payton, maybe if they pick up Kenny Pickett or someone like that, that's a good environment for them to go into. Whereas like you drafted Daniel Jones to come in for like this rookie head coach, it's not a really great environment. Like he was set up for failure from the get-go, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Even if he had Eli there to show him a few things, but teams like that, and then even the Steelers, like even though Tomlin's not like a quarterback guru, like that's a stable organization, that's a stable team, that's a stable head coach. You're going into a good environment with a plentiful of offensive weapons. So, I mean, as long as they're not getting like a dum-dum at quarterback, like they get someone.
Yeah, I saw the two other players. I saw Chris Olave, the wide receiver from Ohio State. They said they had him 19 going to the Eagles, which could be legit if they get Russell Wilson. Did you hear about the trade possibility with Russell Wilson with the Eagles?
I mean, I see Russell going everywhere.
Multiple rumors.
They said they were saying that it was a high possibility with them giving 3 first-rounders and a second-rounder for Russell Wilson.
The GM for the Eagles just came out and like validated or like endorsed Hurts as their starting QB. Yep. So like that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much smoke right now. Like right. You don't know what's the truth. And like I think the Giants have a lot of firepower right now. They have 2 top 10 picks this year, and then a pick next year that they'd be happy to throw at like Russell Wilson or Deshaun Watson if his legal issues are taken care of, and I'd be all for it.
One last person. I want your opinion, Brian. What's the odds that the Patriots take Jamison Williams from Alabama?
I mean, that would be right up their alley because Bill Belichick loves to get value. He likes value picks. So the guy just tore his ACL, so he probably is going to redshirt probably his whole rookie season, especially if he goes to New England. Bill Belichick does that all the time with players. He took Cameron McGrone out of Michigan last year, didn't see the field at all, and he tore his ACL in November of 2020 and never played a snap for the Patriots this year. And I bet you next year you'll start hearing his name a little bit. So that's what Bill loves to do is just take these players, and he likes the injured players because he can get value out of them. 1 year he took Dominique Easley out of I think Florida or Miami.
Florida, yep.
Yeah, Florida.
Yep.
And he did it for the same reason. He was like really high caliber talent, but got a steal on him because he had both his ACLs done.
Yeah. I think it'll be, if you guys actually get it, would be a hell of a pick because he's a different type of player. Especially he's supposed to be the 6th overall player. Y'all get him at 21, right? I think that's a hell of a steal.
I'd also be more interested in getting Michi in like the 2nd or 3rd. That's just me. Just because I think the Patriots need somebody to come in day one and be an impact.
But Michi tore his ACL too, though.
Well, but wasn't it earlier in the season?
No, it was only 3 weeks earlier.
Oh, really?
He tore his in November
I didn't even realize.
Tore December. Yeah.
Well, then never mind.
Yeah.
Hey, before we move on to the great debate, I do want to mention one more thing that impressed me this weekend. Cam Akers coming back from a late ruptured Achilles to playing and actually getting the ball a ton. He wasn't like driving he didn't have a crazy good game.
Yeah.
But he was catching the ball in the backfield. He looked explosive. He looked like he can handle the workload, and he looked good. And after a ruptured Achilles, that's a hard injury to come back
especially in the same year. Like, that's crazy.
He's a different back.
Yeah, it was right before the season.
He's going to be
like that.
Oh, he's going to be so good next year.
Like it's crazy like how far medicine has came. Remember before when you saw a ruptured Achilles, like
done.
Arian Foster, it's like, oh yeah, he's done. Nope, never again.
I was gonna say, I was looking at this, and there's someone tweeted like since 2010, all the people that
Out the league, yeah.
have ruptured their Achilles, out the league, out the league, out the league, out the league. Arian Foster, he was cut mid-season that year. Joe McKnight, he was out the league. The only success story was
From Titans.
Dante Foreman,
Yeah,
the
from
Titans dude.
Yep.
And then Marlon Mack, but he's
But
just
those are
kinda
recent.
whatever.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's recent. So we don't even see how that's going to go. So
But Marlon Mack was out for over a year, right? Yeah.
And Foreman looks pretty good in Tennessee now. I mean,
He
it
did.
took him a couple of years, but he's coming back pretty strong.
yeah,
Derrick Henry might play this week.
Yeah.
I
They
hope
said
he,
they'll tell us Friday. They said he did good during padded practice.
playing.
But,
yeah, he's definitely gonna play. He's a bull. Yeah, he's playing. All right, man. So I appreciate that, Ryan, for football, for NFL. Getting straight to the great debate was staying on NFL with all the stuff going in the coaches carousel. I want you guys' opinion. Do you agree or disagree with the process of NFL firings and how they handle it? Anybody can
I'll
start
go.
with it.
Go ahead,
I'll
Brian.
go first. So I think you're angling more towards like longevity of coaches.
Yeah.
Like these guys getting fired, like Flores. Why was he fired? He was the coach there for what, 2-3 years, something like that. I
I
mean,
think it's just 3 years.
I mean, he was finally establishing his, what culture he wanted in that team. It doesn't happen overnight. So I don't know what these, owners think that they're just going to come in, snap their fingers, and it's all going to be better. Like, nobody can do that. Like, you can even go back into like the early 90s and look at Bill Belichick in Cleveland. It took him 3 years to get to a playoff. If they had given up on him, nobody would have known what kind of a coach he could have been. Like, you got to give these guys more of a chance. I mean, like, I was looking like, why is the guy at Houston getting fired after 1 year? Now, I will say, I think the reason why is because it happened after Flores got fired. I think Flores is going to Houston. So I think they have a good reason for that. And Flores has openly said before that he wants Deshaun Watson. So I think they're trying to remarry the organization with Watson.
That's a good point.
But I mean, still, like that guy, he brought along Davis Mills. Like Davis Mills looks like a decent quarterback. Might not be elite, but
Better than Daniel Jones.
I mean, well, it was only his first year. Let's not overreact. But like, I'll just say, like he got the can. Caldwell 1 year got the can in the Detroit Lions, and they haven't done squat since he left. I think they've gone through 2 other coaches. Like, I don't know. These owners are expecting results way too quickly. You need to give a coach.
I mean, did you think the Houston Texans were winning 4 games this year?
No, not
I
at all.
think they overperformed.
Right.
They overperformed.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
Like, not only did they not have Deshaun Watson, but they got rid of J.J. Watt. I mean, they cut a couple of other veterans on defense. Like, they were in a total reset mode. And the guy still got them 4 wins. Like, I mean, that's pretty damn good. Like, I don't know.
Their organization is fucked, though.
I
Their
think
organization is
yeah,
terrible.
But I think even with the Giants, like, they got rid of Judge a little bit too quickly. I mean, listen, maybe he's not the right answer, but you don't really know after 2 years. Like, come on. You got to give him at least 3-4 years. Let's see what happens. Like, this year they might have a good reset because if they believe in Danny Dimes, and they put more talent on that defense with these picks, you might have a good team next year. I mean, or they can go trade and get a veteran quarterback. Like, that team is very talented. They underperformed this year, Ryan. They sucked. I don't know why.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They did suck. And do I think that they should have gotten rid of Joe Judge? Maybe they could have given him a year, but, like, what are they going to do? They're going to hire this new GM, and then they have to worry about whether or not this GM is going to work with the head coach. And then it's just, to me, I'd rather them just clean house and then bring in a new staff. And then I told you this beginning of the season. If Daniel Jones doesn't do it with the offense that's there, they tried to blame it on on Jason Garrett, in which it's probably his fault because he wasn't creative enough. But like it was just such a bad year. We should have been. Injuries were a problem, and I don't know who to blame that on, but you can't really do anything about it. I don't know. Whatever. I'm just kind of chilling with the Giants. Whatever they want to do.
No.
I've got no expectations.
Yeah. I mean, I will say that there are some organizations that hold on to their coaches too long, like Minnesota, for example. Like Mike Zimmer has kind of ran his course a couple of years ago. Like they've consistently not been in a. They have a more talented team than the results have shown, so they needed to move on from him. So I think it depends on the organization. I think some do it too quick, and some hang on too long.
Ryan, are you caveat today, or are you disagreeing?
I'm contemplating because
I can go then if you want me to.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, as you were talking, Brian, I started to think, like, the process of how they're firing is a little bit, harsh. But at the end of the day, you're a coach and you're expected to deliver results, right? Like, only reason why draft picks don't get cut earlier is because they have the equity in them. And then, like, we can't look like a dummy as a GM and a coaching staff, so we have to keep them. But other than that, as a player, you're expected to perform. And if you don't perform, as soon as they can to cut you, they're going to cut you. So, like, and my thought process is, like, what difference is that as the coach, as the head coach, right? Like, 1 year, I do agree 1 year is too fast. But, like, if you're there for 2 or 3 years and you really don't see any progress and it's looking like trash, then it's like, all right, we got to get you out of there. Because at the end of the day, all they care about is really the money, right? The owners don't care about, like, they say they care about the wins and the championships, yeah, because that brings money, but they care about money. And if the fan base is throwing bottles at you like they're doing at the Cowboys, it makes you look like you lose your support. You got this big stadium, like Jerry Jones bought this big stadium, is paying all this money, paying hella prices for those seats to sit in Cowboy Stadium. People are not going to fill them up if you're not performing. And that starts with the coach. Like, so, like, I agree with them firing. The process is a little harsh, but I definitely, if I had to lead on one side, I definitely agree with it. But
I think that, so, like, if we're speaking about the Houston Texans just specifically,
yeah,
because I know that everyone's like uproar about this one because it was after 1 year. This man's gonna make $22 million for being a head coach for 1 year. I mean, to me, he didn't do anything wrong. And I don't think he's going to care because he's going to go back to what he was doing. And it's not like – I feel like they settled – the Texans settled last year because what was his position last year? He was – in 2020, he was the assistant head coach for the Ravens. He was the pass game coordinator and wide receiver coach. That's not their strength in Baltimore. So, like, it's not like he was, like, on a stout team. And he was that during 2019 and 2020. I'm not trying to like
downplay it, but damn, that's bad.
Downplay, but like the Houston's kind of got caught up in a position where not a lot of head coaches wanted to go there because they had drama with Deshaun Watson, and they were just he was probably their only option. He was probably like, hey, well, let's make it work. I'm surprised that they signed him to a 3-year deal, but like, I mean, I feel like that's the going rate, and it's not counted against the salary cap. So the owner was probably like, all right, I'll give you $22 million at worst if we end up cutting you. Like, I don't know. And if they can get Brian Flores, because I 100% agree with what Brian's saying. I think that they're also interviewing Gerard Mayo. So I think that's probably their backup plan to be like, if Deshaun is like, because I bet you this is what's happening. They're interviewing Flores, and then they're trying to have that conversation with Deshaun Watson and Flores. It's like, all right, if we bring you in, is Deshaun willing to be open to coming in? Because remember, the GM got signed from the Patriots over to Houston, and the minute he did that, that's when Deshaun was like, I'm not playing for this team, and that was last year. So I don't know if there's rift between the GM and Deshaun Watson or what, but I think I love this kind of stuff. The offseason is like one of my favorite times with the NFL, which is weird because I love drama like this.
It's definitely a lot of drama. But I do. If one thing I want to say, Joe Judge deserved to be fired. He's a clown for doing that. Like calling that last play, like you call that sneak back there.
The QB sneak.
When I saw that,
That-
I was like, man, I know
that
he's a
probably
genius,
fired.
and I'm saying this like jokingly, right? That he's a clown, but that was some clown. Like, if I had to run that play, I would be pissed off. Like you taking a sneak. Or like what? Punt the ball, bro. So he deserved to be fired for that clown. Him and Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy talking about, I have the brilliant mind. I can make it happen.
I think they gave him too much time.
Yes.
Yeah, too much time
in
for Matt
Chicago.
Nagy.
But in their defense, they were making the playoffs during that time because I think weren't they in the playoffs last year?
I thought it was the year before. They were last year.
think-
No, they were last year. They
think
played against New Orleans, right?
I don't remember
That's
that.
one buddy.
It's
I don't know.
it's hard to fire a coach that just came out of that because I think he was on the chopping block last year, and they didn't fire him because he made the playoffs, and they were like, all right, let's figure it out. And the thing with Miami, like that, the whole NFL was like blown away by this because he had a 5-11 year the first year, and then the next 2 years he made the playoffs the following year, and then this year they lost 7 games, and then they won 7 in a row. So like they were played pretty well, and they dug themselves out of a hole. I just think the problem is that the organization is choosing Tua over Brian Flores, and I don't think Brian Flores really likes Tua.
How could the Jacksonville Jaguars get rid of Urban Meyer? Like what? Like,
He's too much drama, man.
I'm
He's
being
too
funny, bro. Come on now.
like,
I'm being
Jesus.
funny. No, I'm being funny.
I was like,
You know that's my
this
guy, so I was
guy-
being funny.
this guy is a
Listen,
mess.
if he hadn't had that bar video or whatever come out, I think he'd still be there.
I
Because
just think so
because
as
if
well.
that didn't come out, I don't think the kicker would have come out talking
Yeah.
about getting hit. Like it all spiraled out of control once that video came out of him at the bar. Like
The same thing happened with John Gruden.
I mean, yeah, oh yeah.
John Gruden shouldn't have been fired, but
No, he shouldn't have, but he called the commissioner a pussy or something like that. So
well, yeah, and he said no one is.
No, he came at NFLPA
me-
guy too. He said some.
well,
That was-
Yeah,
that one was probably
So I
the
wanna-
one that was too
Yeah,
close
that
to
was
the
it.
line.
No, for sure.
I do want to clarify. Me stating that I don't think he should have been fired is not me endorsing anything that he has said
Yeah, I'm about to say.
or as a human.
Right.
But it is me saying just should he not be a coach? Maybe because he's probably he's a pretty bad person and he thinks those things. But like, I don't know. I've said some pretty mean things to people I dislike, and if that came out, you guys would think crazy things about me.
Nothing along those standards though. He just
No, he was bad. He was bad.
yeah.
But also I only disagree with it because all the findings in that investigation are being held under wraps, and the NFL is saying we are not releasing any of our investigation findings, except for this one leak about John Gruden, so that we could fire him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want
So
scapegoat.
that's kind of
Got Mike Mayock out of there too.
Yeah. Oof, Mike Mayock.
I think he was too big for his britches. He was like really I think he was like really cocky with the way he was drafting. Like he would overdraft people. Like he'd be like, "Oh, you think I'm gonna take this guy? Boom, I'm gonna take Cullen Farrell,
Yeah.
defensive end."
Where the hell is he at?
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. He made a lot of his later picks were pretty decent. Like the Crosby guy. So like, I just think he was a little too cocky with some of his drafting.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
he
his
knows how to
fault.
get some
It's not his
some
fault. His
speed.
receiver. Yeah.
Good cut. Don't do that.
It's not his fault. His receiver got out of control. Okay.
We're not doing that. No.
And it's too early to tell on that lineman, but they did draft him as a tackle, Leatherwood, and he's now a guard.
Yeah.
So
But Leatherwood could do both. Though.
I know, but
Yeah.
if you're drafting him to be a tackle, but he has to be a guard because he can't
Yeah.
cut it as a tackle, that's
Right.
not a good look.
Yeah.
That's all.
Any closing remarks, my guys?
No, I don't think so. I mean, do you guys think any big names are going to come out for coaching jobs this year? Like,
What do you mean?
Like Jim Harbaugh? Do you think he's going to get lured back into the NFL, or John, whichever one isn't in the freaking NFL? I can't remember him.
Jim.
Okay,
Yeah.
Jim is the one at Michigan.
If he's smart, he'll go to the Raiders.
you think so?
I think so.
Actually, I actually don't think he should, because the Raiders coach that they had in the playoffs and they finished with, he was actually not a bad coach.
I know.
He actually had them riled up and playing pretty well.
And I think it'd be good for the locker room to keep him there.
Yeah,
Because the players will see that from management and be like, oh, it's like a vote of confidence.
Yeah.
And they'll appreciate that.
Because if Jim comes in there, Jim, you got to play by his rules.
Right.
That's for sure. Jim should go to a
I'll
team like
take Derek
Miami.
Carr.
Jim should go to Miami.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm saying you should go to a team like that where it's like the culture is like it's still up in the air, right? Like a team like or Denver or something like that, right?
Giants.
No, could you see? No.
Why not?
No, actually, no. It
Too
could actually
much of a character.
It could, yeah. That's what I was saying. It's too much of a character for big New York City. But I would say he does have the pieces there that fits him, right? He has a good runner, Saquon Barkley, right? You got is Devontae still going to be there? His backup Booker. Yeah.
Yeah, Devontae Booker. Yeah, I
So
think
he's still going to be there. Cole, you got two guys in the backfield. The receivers are not really good. They're decent, right? But like he's going to run the ball, and that's what Saquon needs anyway. So. But I don't. Other than that, I don't know who else is.
Let's work on getting an offensive line first.
That never happens. All right, man. That does it for the great debate. Do you have anything to add to BK Best, Brian? Because I have this UFC fight.
No, not really.
You don't have NFL?
You want me to? I can do it real quick off the hip. It's like that's
Hey,
my
did
game.
you-
That's my
did you-
specialty.
Okay, I actually right here.
Oh,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
No. Finish
Oh.
it. Finish it.
I just want to state something that Aaron Rodgers is 0-3 against the 49ers in postseason.
I know.
He
I
gonna
know.
bust their ass.
And Aaron
Don't
Rodgers
do
has
that.
a history of choking in the playoffs. No offense to Packers fans, but
Don't do that.
It's
bro.
just the way it
they've
is.
been in the
All right.
they've been in the NFC Championship game like the last
I know.
or
but,
3
but
years. Or
Ryan,
something like
that team has been so good so many years now, and to only have one Super Bowl victory, or to even make it to the Super Bowl only once, is kind of not a good look.
I know,
All
but
right.
I don't like their matchup against the
Let's
49ers.
see.
The 49ers are dogs right now.
Let's see. What's the spread?
I'd be worried though because Jimmy G, he hurt his shoulder, and if they have to go to Trey Lance at all, they're done. Like no
They're
offense,
done.
no offense
They're
to the
done
kid,
already,
but-
bro. They're done already. Aaron Rodgers is gonna bust some ass. Pause. He's definitely gonna kill them boys.
Yeah, who's covering Devontae Adams in this game? Nobody.
Yeah. Like
Dude, every game this weekend is a good game.
okay. Hey, right now, quick off the hip. Cincinnati at Tennessee, right? Cincinnati is 3.5. Who you like? Who y'all both like?
Tennessee.
You like Tennessee, Ryan?
Yeah, I think Cincinnati let the Raiders hang around too much. Their defense is suspect, man. I don't believe in them.
I'm tanking Cincy.
Okay.
I like Cincy. I'm going. Yeah. Let's do picks. This
Yeah.
week.
San
taking Cincy.
Francisco versus Green Bay. 5.5.
San Fran.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
All right.
LA versus Tampa. Tampa is favorite 2.5.
Tampa. Go ahead and dump my boy in the playoffs. Go ahead.
I'm gonna. I don't like to go
take
against
Tampa.
Tom.
I'm taking Tampa.
I don't ever
Tampa.
like to go against Tom.
Listen,
But I'm not gonna say
This
nothing.
guy
I'm
just
gonna be quiet
wins.
on that.
The guy
yeah,
wins.
He does. He does.
That's all I'm saying.
Don't be surprised if it's an upset though of the Rams. I'm just calling it right now. Hey, Buffalo, KC. KC's favored by 1.5. They're playing at Arrowhead.
Casey.
Ryan?
Kansas City.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City. They're just too good of a team. But I could see upsets from every game this week. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you told me tomorrow, or like if it was after the games, that the Bengals won, the 49ers won, the Rams won, and the Bills won, I'd be like, yeah, they're all like I feel like the matchups between these teams they're all good. The ones that are left.
Yeah, I would think I would say that would be awkward. It'd be weird. It'd be weird not seeing like Tom Brady in it or Aaron Rodgers, like somebody like that high caliber quarterback in it.
That's what I want.
I can see it.
That's what I want. I want the Rams to win. That's who I want to win. I don't want Brady in there again. So you know what? I'll take the Rams. I'll take the upset. You know what? I'll take every upset this week.
You know why I want the Bucks to win again? Because I want Bill Belichick to just be stewing all offseason. That he let the GOAT go. And he goes somewhere else and wins 2 Super Bowls while you suck. Like, there we go.
You know what would be funny? If the 49ers and the Bucks play in the championship game and both of them are Bills quarterbacks. Jimmy G versus Brady.
That would be
Belichick
funny,
drafted 3 of the 14 starting quarterbacks in the playoffs, and yours is the only one that didn't make it. How does that make him feel? You know he's at home sulking. He's sulking.
Yeah, he'll be upset for sure.
I'm gonna send this to him. I'm gonna send it to him.
Only thing I have to say different, UFC 270 is going on. Is the heavyweight championship, and Francis Ngannou is going against Gane or Gane, however you say it. And I think that's going to be a really good fight. Like, I don't know if y'all watch UFC like that, but the Ngannou.
I don't like violence.
All right, well, let me keep it short. Ngannou, I think he'll return. He'll take the title. But yeah, you don't like violence.
You know what I don't like?
I watch football.
That ain't P, bro.
I don't like having to pay $100 for a pay-per-view. That's what I don't like.
That is true.
So call me a cheap ass. That's fine. Now, I will say this, though. If I'm going to watch a fight, I want to see a heavyweight fight. So yeah. I will give it that.
Picture 2 of me fighting, right? Big dogs. You know what I'm saying? 2 of me fighting.
Yeah.
I'm fighting against myself. That's what it's going to be. Yeah, I just have to put my own little plug in there. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us again for another episode. Follow us on all the socials, on Instagram, TikTok, on here right now. If you guys are watching, like, comment, subscribe if you don't already subscribe already, so we can get that algorithm going, so we can get more of these views and run it up. Thank you again.
Enjoy the week of the underdogs.
Yeah, enjoy the week of the underdogs. If you're near your local sports bet, Ryan said put it on all the underdogs. And if you don't,
whole house.
If you don't win, then blame Ryan next week.
Yeah.
We love y'all. Peace.
Later.